couple of months ago, we had Frank Lesh on, and we were talking about the notion that gold really was becoming securitized. It was much more of a paper trade than a bullion or a real commodity trade. And this makes sense. If you look back several years, the big story is that, maybe even longer, that the correlation issues of many financial products needed some type of a counterbalance. The commodity sector provides that, but there really, in many ways, aren't enough commodities, and the futures markets, in many ways, aren't big enough to handle it. So, of course, this rise in paper seems to fit the bill. One thing I noticed that I find fascinating is when we see things like crude oil and gasoline prices going up, of course, there's political outrage and talk about rigging and something's wrong and conspiracy theories. But when you see these huge trades where it goes down, for example, in gold, you don't hear anything about it. Or, of course, when the S&Ps of the Dow or the futures, when they go up, you don't hear anything about it. So I guess there's a pick and choose element to that. The other issue about gold is Russia's been accumulating it. Russia's reserves are now almost 10% gold, and I know it doesn't compare or even get in the same ballpark as Germany and the U.S., but I find it fascinating at this point in time. Think of some of these op-eds recently that point to the fact that, we have our Treasury Department last week with a report a little bit nervous about the Japanese notion of printing and weakening their currency. So, think about all the times we've had talks about making China a currency manipulator. Listen, the way I see it, if anybody wants to be honest, we are all currency manipulators, whether it's Japan, the U.S., Europe, to some extent the Brits. The weak advanced economies are all trying to fudge it a little bit.